Welcome to the Vibrant Living Podcast, where we talk about living aligned in your spirit, soul, and body, and your whole life. I'm Donna Taston, your host, and today I am joined by Cynthia. Let me tell you a little bit about her. She is a certified personal trainer and posture and mobility specialist who helps women in midlife rebuild strength, improve back wellness, and move with confidence. Using a smart, science backed approach that addresses the real root causes of pain and stiffness, Cynthia empowers women to feel strong, capable, and at home in their bodies. Yay for that. Yay for that. Welcome, Cynthia, to the podcast.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
We've been looking forward to this, haven't we?
Yeah, absolutely.
Where do you live in the world?
I live in Houston, Texas.
We have a little different weather, the two of us right now.
It's very nice here. Yeah.
Yes, we do. How did you get into becoming a certified personal trainer?
I've always been active. I grew up being a dancer, so I would go to the gym and do a little bit of weightlifting or do the treadmill or go to the group exercise classes, but I wasn't really into it. But in my 20s, I saw that my mother got very sick and she struggled a lot with her health and her wellness and her body. And I realized that some of the choices that she had made leading up to that contributed to being where she was at that time. So I decided that I was going to make different choices, especially because I got diagnosed with osteopenia, some thinning of the bones at a pretty young age. So I wanted to really protect my bone density. And one of the best ways to do that is to lift weights, to do things that are heavier than just, doing the treadmill. So I got into weightlifting and I realized that the approaches that are typically given as far as personal training for a young man did not
Mhm.
work so well with me. And I had to go out and search for what really did work for me. And I did find that eventually, but it took a lot of experimenting, a lot of looking kind of in different directions than is typically available. And I thought, I figured all this out, but it took me a lot of time, money, and effort. And it's so important that all these other women protect their bone density, protect their health, and just feel really strong and confident in their bodies. So I thought that I'm just going to share this. I'm going to tell other women, particularly if you are not 20 years old, that you can do this. And there are alternatives out there that you might not even think about. Something that doesn't look like an Instagram model can still work and help you to get the results that you want.
We compare ourselves all the time, don't we?
Oh, absolutely. This is true.
I'm not just about our body. Come on, it's about everything.
Yeah,
That
this is true.
perfectionism thing.
Yeah, that's one of the things I have to really watch out for myself. So I get it.
Yeah, we have to watch out for that because that comparison and the person I often say when they'll show some kind of workout and you'll watch and I'm like, you're 20 years old if you're lucky. And I'm like, that's not gonna work for me like that. And the other thing I had talked about to you before is for a while I was making a declaration without realizing it. Exercise causes me pain. Therefore, I don't exercise because it causes me pain. And learning that I'm doing it wrong and is so important. You talk about how important the core, you talk about the back. And there, when that back muscles and the core is strong, how it stabilizes the whole body. And there's so much around that. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, exactly. That I think a lot of people just kind of jump in and try to do the things that the 20-year-old Instagram models are doing and what typically you think of when you think of working out and exercising. But sometimes we need, especially as we get a little bit older, we need to make sure that everything is kind of primed and ready to go before we go to like 100 miles an hour. We have to kind of, warm up a little bit, get things rolling. Especially, you can drive a brand new car pretty hard. It'll just go. You don't have to worry about maintenance or what state it is in before you just go. But with an older car, maybe you got to check the alignment, or maybe you got to kind of, let it warm up a little bit. And it's just because of, how it's just not in the state that it was originally. Maybe there was an accident, or maybe it just hit a bunch of potholes and things are, life happened basically. And the same thing can happen with your body. When you're 20, it's pretty easy to just go and not feel the pain, or not have a bunch of limitations, or what could be perceived of as limitations. But once you get a little bit older and life happens, you hit your own potholes in life, or you're fighting gravity, or you develop these compensations from sitting. Maybe you sit a certain way and you do your mouth, and then you're always in this posture and you go to try to do something, but it's not quite aligned. And then you get these things that feel bad. They feel like they're scary, or they can actually cause injury if you go too far into not quite right. And it just doesn't feel good. It doesn't make you feel good. And you feel even frustrated that you're trying to do it. It seems like you're doing all the right things, but you get injured, or you're just not making the progress. You're putting the time in and you're like, why am I not getting slimmer? Or why aren't my abs popping out? Or, whatever it is that you're trying to do. I can get that. It can be really frustrating to think I'm doing all the things, but I'm not getting the result that I thought I would. And then you just give up because it's just like, well, why am I wasting my time? And this feels bad and I'm getting injured. But what a lot of people are missing is that warm up period. That if you just took an old car in for an alignment, maybe the the kind of bumpy ride would get a little flatter, and you'd get some more mileage out of that car if you just kind of put some maintenance into it at least first, or from time to time. And the same thing can happen with your body. So that's part of what I do with the posture and the alignment, and all that side of things. Is we'll go through and we'll talk about that first. Even breathing, like if you get stressed out or you get in a certain habit, then your neck can start kind of taking over, and that could even set you up for some misalignment or tight muscles, or things not working exactly right, or optimally for exercising. And all of that stuff tends to get glossed over by most mainstream
Yeah.
workout programs, or group exercise, or CrossFit, or whatever it is, whatever kind of modality that you typically would see. You don't. How many people stop and think about how they're breathing, or is my posture aligned before I go do this thing? So that's what I have found. That's part of what took me so long to try to make progress in my own journey. Was I was jumping in with all these problems, and it wasn't until I kind of stepped back, kind of regressed, what seemed like regressing in my mind at the time, and just focused on things that you can't really see from the outside, that are not super obvious, things going on the inside, breathing, alignment, just like, do I feel deep muscles doing something, or is it all just kind of arms, that kind of thing? It's from the inside out. And it took me a long time to find that. And I think a lot of times people miss that. But that is a key thing that can happen, that people need in order to not get injured.
Yeah. Yeah. I,
Yeah.
I see seeing a chiropractor talking about the alignment is really key for me, and keeping that every so often. And especially if I've taken a long car ride, if like I've done any traveling, those kind of things, sitting and I sit for a living. So there's part of that. But I remember asking my chiropractor, I'm like, I started lifting weights. Now I can't move my shoulder. So I'm doing something wrong. That was one of the times. It's like, okay, this is her. I'm supposed to lift weights. At my age, I'm supposed to be lifting weights, but every time I lift weights, now I can't move my shoulder, so I can't even use this arm at all now. I can't even put on my clothes. It's like, and I was trying to do something good. And so I talked to him about it because it was a person I was seeing in person. Most people I'm seeing on Zoom. And I'm like, so what am I doing? And I forgot I was either pushing my shoulder forward or backwards or something. And it was not in alignment. I mean, I was hunching, I think is what I was doing and doing like this or something. And anyway, so he
Yeah,
gave me
it's
some
super
tips,
common.
and he's a much younger man, but he lifts weights. So I figured, I'm like, we're gonna know. I don't know. I've never lifted weights, and so, but somebody to ask those kind of questions is what so many people are, and I know you would welcome if women have questions to message you and say, this is what happened when I did this. What do you think? And give them some tips on how to never all of the other resources that you have too. So if people wanted to reach out to you, what's the best way to do that?
You can find me on the socials, especially Facebook. I do have a Facebook group that is free. Anybody can join. Well, mostly women can join.
Mhm.
Although there are a few men in there, we don't kick them out, but it is mostly women. It's called Fitness Simply Done. And if you'd like to email me, feel free to do so. It's PT for personal trainer, and then my name, Cynthia Croissant at gmail.com.
Wonderful. We'll have that information in the show notes so that you can reach out, but you have somebody you can ask a question to now and give you some tips on how to create. Um, my response around is something that's simple but effective. It doesn't have to be super, CrossFit training kind of thing. Been there, done that.
Exactly. That's why I named my business what I did, because I wanted to just be simple and you just get it done and you just move on with your life.
Yes,
Exactly.
absolutely. Well, Cynthia, thank you so much for being with us today. And I look forward to talking to you more and finding out and then women reaching out to you and asking questions. So have a wonderful
Absolutely.
day and thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Well, that's another wrap of today's conversation. Who do you know that needs to know the things Cynthia's talking about today? Who do you care about that you can share this with? Leave a comment below, share the video or the audio, and bless them and let them understand that they are not alone in getting comfortable and strong in their body. And if you would like to know more about me and explore vibrant living, what that looks like, you can visit my website at the letter I, vibrantliving.com, which will also be in the show notes, which has all my upcoming events and free gifts for you. Thank you for being part of the Vibrant Living community, and I'll look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.